I'm John Knoerzer. I'm here with BoardGameGeekTV, and I'm going to be doing an explanation video for Edo, Tokyo 1603 to 1868 by Lewis and Stephen Malls, published by Queen's Games. For my explanation of Edo, we are going to be pretending we're going to be playing a 4-player game. So the board setup will be as if it's a 4-player game. First thing you want to do is make sure that you have the right side of the board. One side is going to be the 4-player side, which is this side. The other side of the board is a 2- and 3-player side. After that, the first thing you want to do is cover one profit chart of each type of good. In a 4-player game, there will only be 2 locations where you'll be able to gather goods of each type. Now, you can choose this randomly, or the players can decide which ones they want to cover. Next, you're going to want to choose a pink profit tile for Edo. It is chosen randomly, but make sure that you choose one that is the 4-player with the 4 little guys on the back. Put that on the board. Then you're going to choose profit tiles for the remaining cities. In a 4-player game, one city is not going to be used, so you're only going to have to choose 5 profit tiles. Again, the city that's not used can be chosen randomly, or the players can decide which one it is. The profit tiles, however, are always chosen randomly. So let's put these guys out. Again, you make sure that you want to be using the 4-player ones, because there are different profit tiles for 3 and 2 players. So there we go. Next, shuffle the merchant card deck and place them in the lower left-hand corner and reveal one. They are more tiles than cards, but that's okay. Next, you're going to want to shuffle the special authorization cards. Put them by the side of the board and reveal the top 5. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I can count. Place the fortresses and the officials and the money in easy reach of everybody. Then choose your favorite method to determine a start player. Once that's done, you're going to want to put out the following groupings of goods. 3 rice, a wood and a stone, 2 stone, 10 money, or 2 wood. Starting with the player to the right of the start player, so the person that would go last, they're going to have a choice. They're either going to put one of their houses in the first slot on an unoccupied city that's not Edo, or they're going to take one of the groupings of goods. Now, everybody's going to have 2 opportunities to do these things, and you will do one thing your first opportunity and the second thing your second opportunity. So each person will get a grouping of goods and have one of their houses on an unoccupied city. So let's see how this works. So green is the player that's going to choose first. They're going to choose that. Then blue, they're going to grab 3 rice. Then yellow is going to grab a city. And now we actually come to the start player. Now, they're going to do both their actions right in a row. So they're going to choose a city, and then they're going to take a grouping of good. Then we go back to yellow, so we're doing reverse order this time. They're going to take a wood and a stone. Blue took the 3 rice the last time, so they're going to put their house on a city, and then green's going to take the 10 money. There will be one set of goods that is left over, and you will just return that to the supply. Each player is going to take the tokens of their color, which will include an authorization card holder, the 3 starting authorization cards, a trading house, 5 samurai/officials, 7 regular houses. They also start with 3 rice and 20 money. At the beginning of each round, players are going to simultaneously choose their actions. They do that by taking one of their authorization cards. Let's take a little bit of a closer look. There we go. And they're going to choose one of the 4 actions on the authorization card. You want to put the action that you want face down so it's oriented up. So this is going to be the action that they're going to choose. Then you're going to choose how many samurai you're going to want to activate that action. We're going to go into a little more detail on the limitations on that. But one thing to notice, you will see a little X here. that means you cannot put a samurai on that spot. So that will limit how many times you are able to activate these actions. In this situation, this last card, you can only activate once. So I'm only going to put one samurai on that spot. The players are going to do all that simultaneously, and they're going to do that in secret. Once everybody is completed, then you're going to take turns, starting with action number 1 of the start player, going around clockwise. Everybody takes their first action, everybody takes their second action, then everybody takes their third action. Let's take a quick closer look at the authorization cards. There are 3 types of actions on the authorization cards. Ones that can be activated by an official or a samurai that is on your card holder, and they can do it by themselves. There are going to be ones that you're going to need not only an official or samurai on your card holder, but also a samurai that's on the main board itself. And then there are going to be ones that you're going to need 2 people on your card holder and 1 samurai on the board. Now, before any action that has one of those gray figures which depict a samurai on the action card, you can move your samurais on the board. It will cost 1 money for each spot you move. So let's say you were doing an action and you want your samurai over here. You can move him 1, 2, 3 spots. It would cost you 3 money, and then you would do the action. Now, you cannot do that in between each time you are activating that action. So let's say you have 2 men on that card. You have to do all your movement before you do any of those actions. You can't do activate a samurai, move, then activate another samurai. The first action I will explain is where for every official you put on your authorization card holder, you get 1 rice. Obviously up to 4. And this action is the exact same thing, but instead of getting 1 rice, you get 5 money. This action you can only do once, so that's why they have these 3 X's. You can spend 1 rice and you will be able to hire an official for the rest of the game. This action allows you to buy an extra authorization card. They look a little different. They only have 2 actions on them, but the actions are generally a little bit more powerful and also gives you flexibility in them not being tied to your other authorization cards. This does not give you an extra action. If you have extra authorization cards, you will still be only choosing 3 authorization cards to put in your authorization card holder. Okay, for this action, this is the travel action. You're going to be able to have a choice in what you want to do. For each samurai you put on there, these are your colored people, you'll have a choice. You can either put 1 on the board or you can move 1. If you put an official there, you will only be able to move a samurai that's on the board. Let's go to the board and take a closer look on how that works. So with the travel action, you have 2 options. You can put 1 of the samurais that you had activating the action on the board in one of these gate spots. Or if you already had a samurai on the board, you could move that samurai anywhere on the board that you would like. Boom! Teleportation in the time of the samurai. We're doing triple duty on this one. I'm explaining 3 actions all at once. This is the main way you're going to gather resources. So in this action, you can either gather rice, wood, or stone, and what you're going to need is an official or samurai on your samurai holder and a samurai on the board. That's what that little shadow means. We went over that before. Let's go to the board and take a closer look on how that works. So let's gather some resources. Red has chosen the stone gathering resource action, and it is one of those shadows actions, so they are allowed to move their samurai first. So Red's going to spend 1 money to move their samurai 1 spot. Then they're going to gather some stone. How much stone do they get? Well, you're going to have to look at this chart. This chart indicates how much stone you get depending on how many samurai are on that spot. There's only one samurai on that spot, you get 3 stone. On this spot, there are 2 samurai, so red's only going to get 2 stone. Now they are allowed to activate both samurai because they have 2 official/samurai on their authorization card holder. For every samurai/official on the authorization card holder, they can activate a different samurai on the board. You would not be able to activate the same samurai twice. Now this is the same procedure for both rice and wood, so now that you know how to gather stone, you'll be able to gather rice and wood also. Double duty this time. I'm going to explain both build actions. The only difference between these 2 build actions is one, you only need 1 official on your authorization card holder and a samurai on the board, while this one you need 2 officials on your authorization card holder and 1 samurai on the board. Let's take a look at the board for further information. So let us construct some buildings. Red has chosen the construct building action. Now depending on which one they did, they will either need to have 1 or 2 corresponding officials/samurai on their authorization card holder to be able to activate this samurai that's in a city that will actually build the buildings. There are 3 buildings they can build, and let's take a look at that card. There are houses, which will cost 1 stone, 2 wood, and 5 money. Will score you 1 victory point. There are trading houses that will cost you 5 wood and 15 money and score you 2 victory points. And there are fortresses that will cost 5 stone, 1 wood, and 20 money and will score you 3 victory points. There are also some other restrictions for the trading house and the fortress. There can be no trading houses in Edo, so you can't build one in Edo. Plus, if someone builds a trading house in a city, no one else can build a trading house in that city. So let's say Red is building a trading house. They pay their 5 wood and their 15 money. There are no other trading houses there. That's great. Now, no one else in the game can build a trading house in that city. Now, let's say Red already had that trading house there and they want to build a fortress. Now, a fortress can be built in any city, including Edo. The only restriction is that it has to have 2 buildings per fortress in that city. So this city's fine. There are 3 buildings there, so Red can build that fortress. They will score immediately for that fortress. Now, no one's going to be able to build a fortress in that city until someone else builds at least 1 more building. Then another fortress can go in that city. The last action I'm going to explain is the merchant action. This is going to be an action where you will need 1 person on your authorization card holder and 1 samurai on the board. Let's take a look at the board to actually see how that works. So let's meet the merchant. Now, before any action someone plays, they can move the merchant just like a samurai. 1 spot costs you 1 money, and you can move it as far as you want. In this situation, Red has put 1 official/samurai on their authorization card, so they'll be able to activate 1 samurai on the board. Red will move the merchant 1 spot, spend their 1 money, and be able to do the merchant action because their samurai is there. Let's take a look at one of those merchant cards. There we go. And in this situation, if your samurai is with the merchant, you can choose one or the other conversion. So you can either choose 3 money up to 3 times, get you a rice for each 3 money you spend, or you can choose 15 money, get you 1 victory point once. Now, if Red moved the merchant 2 spots to where they have a samurai and their trading house, they would be able to do both conversions. That's the merchant action. When determining income, you will have to determine who has the most influence in each city. Buildings give influence. Normal houses give 1 influence, trading houses give 2 influence, fortresses give no influence, and that's why they're not color-coded. So let's take a look at this city. Even though green has a house that's upside down, they have 2 influence in the city. Red has a trading house, so they have 2 influence in the city. Blue only has 1 influence in the city, so they're in 3rd place. Now, how do you determine a tie? Well, whoever built first. So green breaks the tie, because they are closest to this arrow. You're going to always be building in that order. So green breaks the tie, and they will have the most influence in the city. Red coming in 2nd, and blue coming in 3rd. So you'll take a look at the city card, and you go down the 3rd line, because that's how many people are built in the city. Green gets 5, red gets 2, and blue gets 1 for income. So at the end of the round, 3 things are going to happen. Each player will have to decide whether they want to keep their samurai on the board. If they do, they have to pay a rice for each samurai that's on the board. So in this situation, green's going to pay their 1 rice, yellow's going to pay their 1 rice, and blue will pay their 2 rice. Red has decided only to pay 2 rice, so one of their samurai will come off the board. That samurai will go back to their supply, and they can use that to put on their authorization card next round. Next, the starting token will move to the next player. And lastly, you will flip over the next merchant card. And that's the end of the round. The game will end in 2 different ways. 1, it will end when the last merchant card has been flipped, or once someone has broken 12 points. Either way, it will end at the end of that round, once everybody's taken all their actions. After the game is over, you're going to do final scoring. In final scoring, the first thing you do is to see if people have built in Edo. If you have not built in Edo, you get fed to the crocodiles and you automatically lose the game. You're out of running. So even though blue has the most victory points right now, they are out of the running because they did not build in Edo. Next, you're going to get 1 victory point for every samurai you have on the board. So green and yellow will get 1 point, and red will get 2 points. And then you will get 1 victory point for every 50 money you have. So let's say yellow had 150 money, so they get 3 points. Green had 50 money, and red unfortunately only had 20 money. And in this situation, red would be the winner. And that was Edo. If you have any questions, please refer to the rulebook. And for other board game explanation videos, please check out our YouTube channel at BoardGameGeekTV. Each player is going to get 5 samurai, 7 houses, 1 trading house, 3 authorization starting cards. We have to figure out something to call this. What shall we call this, people? What do you think this should be called? I think this should be called the authorization card holder. Yep, that's what it's going to be called. Your other turn is going to be the other thing. And that makes absolutely no sense. Do stuff and then do other stuff and do it by the rules. Dude, I'm good at explaining. Randomly, but make sure that you're actually choosing. That's a little blurry, but you can. Why is this not auto-focusing? Autofocus! Why aren't you auto-focusing? Starting with the right player. I'm sorry. Starting with the player. Starting with the right. Yes. Start with the right player, not the wrong player. You will not get very far in this game if you start with the wrong. Ooh, yee, wood, real close. The game board's got wood.